This is my bravest and most honest video yet. It's harsh, but it had to be said. Like Honest Abe or George Washington or whatever. I cannot tell a lie. Well, actually I can, it's pretty easy, but this time I'm not lying. Unfortunately, a lot of MMO content, from big and small creators alike, and the communities surrounding these games, there seems to be a sort of forced positivity, a hug box. It seems like praise and good vibes are what most people consuming this content want, and negativity is kept to a minimum, or kept out entirely. MMO communities, from what I've seen over the years, but especially in the past few years, are the most sensitive communities on the internet. Even more sensitive than autistic teenagers obsessed with My Hero Academia or some other shitty shonen anime. And by a wide margin, it's not even close. Even 12-year-olds will admit there might be some flaws with their favorite cartoon, but grown men won't admit that maybe the game selling gold and boosters and revives might be pay to win. That's just Guild Wars 2. Even worse in games like Dungeons & Dragons Online, where they sell all of that, and just straight up stat boosts and items, then potions to boost stats, and just everything. Like, it's absurd how pay to win that game is. You can even pay for items to search for you and unlock things in a Dungeons & Dragons game. Yet there are people saying it's not pay to win. It's just sad, really. This delusion, this obscene copium, likely comes from people investing hundreds or thousands of hours into these games, hundreds or thousands of dollars into the game, and feeling some attachment to it. Whereas anime, I mean, you pirate it. Or you subscribe to some streaming site for a month or two and watch everything. It's not that big of a deal. Most of these people haven't even been alive long enough to obsess over one show as long as some of these MMO people have been playing one MMO. There are, of course, channels where people review every chapter of a manga or every episode of an anime and praise it pretty much no matter what. Where they speculate about every inane thing or write fucking books about how amazing every single thing in a popular anime is as they chase views. Yes, it's obvious shill shit. Yes, it's pathetic. But at least there's another side of the coin, of people absolutely shitting on everything. Insulting the show, the viewers of the show, everything. You can get views for praising or decimating. There are hug boxes and there are fuck boxes. The MMO communities seem to do a lot of hugging, but not a lot of fucking. If you even look for negative content, it's probably an op. Made for someone looking for something negative to click it and, hey, it's actually praise. They can't get their tongue out of the company's ass because it tastes so good. You want some negatives? I can't think of any. Why do new players leave? Why is the player base so small? Well, maybe because it's just so good and it gives you so much freedom. It's so different from other games and, man, it's so complex and deep. And there sure are a lot of things you could do. There sure is a lot of story. Is it good? I mean, well, there's a lot of it. You know, a lot of shit to force yourself through, a lot of... People treat this shit like a job, like paying for content that is torture, just a boring, mindless slog to get through, is something good. And that putting in like hours and hours, dozens more, to get through this shit to unlock shit later on and be able to do some sort of other content that might not be so fucking mind-numbing is a good thing. They've been trained by MMOs to enjoy this sort of thing or just accept it. It's weird, dude. Try playing an actually good game, guys. Holy shit. There are people who tie themselves to these MMOs so strongly that they feel the need to run PR for the game. They pay for it to promote it, to run damage control, to bring players into the game, to defend everything on the cash shop, to defend the company's decision to sell it on the cash shop, even if it's something they hate. And they only get mad if someone actually buys it. Like level boosts or story skips in Final Fantasy XIV. It's terrible and you should never buy it. You're a piece of shit if you do it. How dare you think the story doesn't matter or the fucking amazing leveling process? Why does the company sell it then? why do they even want people to skip it and let them do it officially? I don't know. Don't criticize the company. I mean, they need to make money. Okay, so you're okay with people buying it? They're supporting it? No. It's such a beautiful thing. They have to experience it. Oh, it's so great. But it's also great that the company sells a way to skip it. Oh, it's so great. Oh, fucking shit. The amount of people defending every shitty decision in the cash shop is staggering. I don't see this amount of excuse making for bad writing in shonen manga that's drawn and written by one man for years, sometimes over a decade. At some point, people can say, yeah, that's kind of shit. Well, I mean, some people. Yeah, he kind of fucked up there. But so many MMO people, if you can even call them people, just can't blame the company for any decision, for the monetization, the writing, what they chose to put out for an expansion. Nothing. Then you have the quality of the people making these things. Manga, one guy in Japan, drawing and writing everything, for years, dedicating his life to it. Workers in Japan and Korea make the anime, the animators, getting paid jack shit for it. Doing everything they can to at least give you some good animation in fucking Demon Slayer, because that's all it really has going for it. Imagine a dude in Korea, he animates this shit for hours, gets paid jack shit, comes home and gets beaten by his wife. But that's the best part of his day, because at least he feels something. Then he goes to sleep and just hopes North Korea doesn't bomb his country. Also, the animator in Japan, pretty much the same thing. Even the North Korea thing, like, it's pretty much the same thing, yeah. Now let's compare the Western MMO studio in Silicon Valley. I don't know. Let's use Blizzard as an example, because World of Warcraft's such a popular MMO. Or it was, or whatever. The guy can't even bother to shave their face, but they can somehow find the time to dye their facial hair fucking purple. They drive to work and chug Soylent. Then they get drunk and crawl around under people's desks all day, pretending to be corgis, barking, biting women, pissing in the corner, daring anyone to call them out for it, knowing they'd be fired for transspeciesism. Their hero is Bill Cosby, and unlike most people, they hope the accusations are true. When they get thirsty later in the day, when the energy from their Soylent and Bud Light wears off, they go steal some breast milk and gobble it up while they beat off in the corporate litter box, because now they're pretending to be a cat. You know, because of the milk. Yeah. These are perfectly reasonable depictions of the average man working on manga or anime, and the average man working on an MMO. It's a pretty fair comparison. It's a pretty fair comparison. Now just think, who's going to make a better product? Who's going to have a better community? The hard-working animator, or the evil dog fucker? Oh, and the guy at Blizzard is also a zoophile. I felt like the trans-species thing should have been enough, but just to be clear, the MMOs will eventually rot your brain. The anime will only lead to you developing clinical depression. They both cause psychic damage, but the anime at least leaves your character intact. Also, I'm talking about big shonen anime, not pedo shit, because that would hurt my argument. Anyway, that's it. Oh, and the only real exception to the lack of criticism for MMOs seems to be for older, less popular Asian MMOs. They get sacrificed and torn into, but even terrible Western MMOs, with terrible monetization, get held to some lower standard and sometimes even praised just for existing. The only exception with Western MMOs seems to be World of Warcraft, because so much hate has built up for that game, even from the players, that most people just can't stay on the copium. They fell from such heights it's hard to ignore. Then you've heard what the average workday at Blizzard is like, so of course people would hate the company. At some point, Blizzard's ass got too dirty. Most of the people in the community could only pretend it was a Starbucks mocha cappuccino smeared all over for so long. Also, while I'm talking about Western game studios, I've got to talk about homosexuality. No amount of virtue signaling and rainbow flag waving, in and out of game, for anything from World of Warcraft to old school RuneScape, will ever make these games as gay as Genshin Impact is naturally. And frankly, it's pathetic to even see them try. Now you might be saying, how is this related? Well, Genshin Impact is a game made by autistic Zoomer weebs in China. That's probably the majority of their workforce. Autistic Zoomer weebs who really like effeminate men and gambling. If you watch this far into the video, I hate to say it, but you're now on a list. You're being watched by the CIA, not because you did anything wrong, but because they're perverts, and they're obsessed with you. Why? Well, if you look at their profiles, you can see they're into guys and girls, and their turn-ons are great taste. You've met the criteria, and now you're on their radar. You may be getting sexually stalked by the American government, but at least you know the truth about anime or MMOs or whatever I said.